There have been a number of public pronouncements recently in the wake of Hurricane Harvey damage about ways to possibly reduce the amount of damage and perhaps from what we get from floods. And you're proposing something that's kind of got some people kind of, oh, really? That's kind of a difference. Well, you said something, we're going to totally relook at the way we're doing this. Is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, I think we have to. And too many people have tried to say specific things that I've proposed. Well, that's not the case. I think everything needs to be on the table. We've seen the Addicks and Barker reservoirs. We go back to 1930s when downtown Houston flooded, and that prompted the legislature to create the Harris County Flood Control District, and it prompted the Army Corps of Engineers to build Addicks and Barker reservoirs. Mm-hmm. This event, I think, should equal that 1930s event and should prompt us to take a whole new look at the way we do things. Do we need a third reservoir up in the Cypress Creek area?
And that's been talked about for a while.
It's been on the drawing boards for quite a while, and the answer is probably yes. I mean, think how many people now live out there, right, and how that area has grown. Our retention requirements. You know, the county is an arm of the state. We don't have ordinance-making power. We can only do certain things. But I want all of us to get together with the legislative delegation and say, what steps can the county take to make sure this doesn't happen again, to the extent floods are going to happen.
Right.
I'm not saying that.
Right.
Likewise, we have all these projects on the books. The Braze project's the one that's best known, but all of the watersheds have potential projects. Let's get those done.
Well, it's taken forever,
it has,
by the way.
And part of that is federal funding has to go through the Corps of Engineers, and then it comes to the Flood Control District for repayment. Well, why don't, rather than us foot it with the property taxpayers in Harris County and then get repaid, why don't we find a way for that money to go straight into those projects?
Do you think the images that we're seeing around the country would spur not only our local delegation, but others to be more open to trying to do what they can to grease the skids, if you will, to make some of that more possible? Because what you're talking about is going to cost some money.
It is, and I don't want to be cynical, but I've seen this before. You remember when the bridge fell down up in the Twin Cities, and
yes,
everybody in Congress said, oh, we got to go fix all the bridges, we're going to spend, and then the next event happened and they forgot about it. We can't let them forget about it.
The people who live downstream from Addicks and Barker aren't going to let you forget about it for a while. What do you say to those folks? They really have been hammered by this whole event. And I know that the process was set up to do what it did.
Right.
But what do you say to them, those people who've been flooded, and they say they've been flooded because of the release, and they really didn't need to be flooded?
Well, it was a Corps of Engineers decision. The Addicks and Barker reservoirs belong to the Corps of Engineers. They're not a Harris County facility. And the Corps decides what to do with it. So if the Corps decides that they're at risk of losing one of those dams, then they have no choice but to release the water, because if the dam broke, then you're not talking about a certain number of homes getting flooded. You're talking about everything between the reservoir and downtown Houston getting flooded. That's the call the Corps made. Our situation is we have to do a better job with FEMA and others of mapping what the hydrology is, what the topography is in that area, because those homes and those businesses have been built on old watersheds. Once the reservoirs have been built, nobody really knows where that water is going to flow. Mm-hmm.
This whole process, it almost sounds like passing a buck a bit, because you know, somebody there, so I'm in Harris County and you're telling me the Corps of Engineers is making that decision. Right. Where the county has no say in any of that?
The county has no say in it. And the Corps has a job to do.
So lawsuits are going to probably determine this, because you know there's plenty of lawsuits that have been filed by that. Maybe that will help kind of answer some questions.
It won't change the dynamic, because the dynamic is still you have people who are behind the dams who, if the water rises, they're going to flood. And then you have people below the dams that if you release the water, they're going to flood. But I believe what the Corps was looking at was the integrity of the dam itself. Right. Because water was already coming around the north spillway. Yeah. And once it comes around there, you have no control over where it goes. So that's an uncontrolled release. It doesn't make anybody feel any better if they've been flooded by a controlled release. But an uncontrolled release is what the Corps worries about.
All of what you're talking about, as we talked about, is going to cost an awful lot of money. The concepts are plenty. The mayor has talked about a tax hike of some sort from the city, and he's talking about attaching that to the kind of, not the Ike Dike, but something along the shoreline. What do you make of what Mayor Turner's proposed?
Well, those are two totally separate subjects.
Right.
The tax hike.
Let's do the tax hike.
Yeah, the tax hike. City gets sales tax and property tax money, and his decision has been he thinks he needs more property tax to pay for the recovery. The county only gets property tax. That's all we get. And in our circumstance, that's probably not necessary because the county's in good financial shape if we get reimbursed, because the property tax revenue from a property tax hike wouldn't come until next year anyway. Mm-hmm. Well, we've already had to spend our money, and hopefully we get the FEMA reimbursement by then. So we'll look at that probably next year as to what our taxes need to be. Long term, for flood control, when you get your tax bill, there's a separate line item for Harris County Flood Control District. Now that one is something that if we put together the right package and we go back to the voters at some point in the future and say, following Harvey, these are the things that need to be done, this is how much it's going to cost, voters, do you approve? And if they approve it, we do it.
You think the appetite at this point would be conducive to having something like that passed?
I do personally, unless it's just so out of bounds that the public says, no, that's way too much. But I think if we show the projects that we're talking about and the benefits, then, you know, voters will make the right decision.
This whole process is coming from you. I mean, you're a good Republican who's pretty conservative as far as spending is concerned. So when you say, let's raise some money, let's hike the tax a bit, that's kind of...
But I think you have to tell voters what they're getting for that, not just a general revenue. Mm-hmm. This would be a specific Harris County flood control.
And how soon do you think something like that might happen? And do you think it's a probability that it will happen?
Oh, yeah, I do. I don't think we can count on the federal government or the state government coming in and paying everything. So we need to find out how much each of those entities are willing to put in, and then we need to say, okay, what do we need to do locally? And there's always a local match to some of these things, too.
Well, you know, we never have enough time, but we're going to stretch the time here as much as I possibly can. We got more. Stay with us with Harris County Judge Ed Emmett.